Welcome back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. My name is Steve Johnson, Eric Sugarfoot Duran, Aurelio Lelo Martinez. In this segment, we're going to kick it around a little bit of discussion about Andre Ward. You know, the super middleweight champ, 168. Nobody close to Andre Ward. You guys got to tell me who you think is a viable opponent for him. I don't see anybody there that really is attractive to him. Andre Ward, in my opinion, thinks he's a little bit of Floyd Mayweather, that he's going to pick and choose who he wants to fight. And so, that being the case, what do you guys see up for him?
Well, I like Andre Ward. I think hands down he's the second best fighter in the world behind Floyd Mayweather. Here's Andre Ward's problem, though. The three biggest draws in boxing right now are Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, and Manny Pacquiao. He doesn't have the flash of Mayweather. He doesn't have the crossover looks of Canelo. And he doesn't have that speed and power that brings people, average fans to the seats like Manny Pacquiao does. Mm-hmm. And he also suffers from a little bit of the Roy Jones syndrome. He's just too good for the opponents. Everyone said Carl Froch was a great super middleweight. Mm-hmm. And after Andre Ward beat him, it wasn't that Andre Ward was too much better. Then it was, maybe Froch wasn't that good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But we have Triple G at 160, who is probably looking to move up sooner or later. Or maybe if Andre Ward really wants, to get rid of his doubters, his naysayers, maybe he'll drop down to 160 and take care of business, meet at 164. But quite honestly, if it ain't Triple G, maybe Adonis Stevenson comes down to 168. Or maybe Ward says, you know what? I'm going to do Roy Jones. I'm done with 168. I'm moving up to 175. Give me Stevenson. And we'll go from there. But like I said, he doesn't have that crossover appeal.
I would love to see that happen. I keep it going. You with the one mic? Yeah. I would love to see that happen. Because I'm of the belief that, like I said, Andre Ward has a little bit of Floyd Mayweather in him. He thinks that he can pick and choose who he wants to fight. It was very interesting. You made a valid point when you talked about, a little bit of Roy Jones, where that he was just too good. You remember before he had to come down in weight, we were saying the same thing about Chad Dawson. Yes. Chad Dawson was just too good. There was nobody. So he took the fight because it was a money fight for him. There was no other money fight for him. So he came down, and I think any reasonable person would admit that he was that weight that he lost to come down and fight Andre Ward, that definitely affected him. I know a lot of people now, we know that he's, after, Adonis Stevenson destroyed him, that's basically about done for Chad. But that taking that chance that he did to get that money, and I can't blame him for that, might have cost him.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's time for Andre Ward to take a chance. Let's let him come down. If he wants to prove to me, and he don't have to prove nothing to me, but I'm saying, as far as I'm concerned, come down. Let's drop down and take on some of these other guys.
Should the champ have to come down, or should the challenger have to go get the champ?
These days now, it's no longer like that. Back in our days, I say my days, back in my day, you had to go get the champ. If you wanted him,
you had to be the champ.
You had to go get him. Now it's about money. So we're talking about money. And if Chad Dawson, like you said, he really doesn't have that big star appeal on any front, other than being a great boxer. I will give him that. But he's got a lot to prove, and in order to prove that, he's going to have to put something on the line.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you, my take on Andre Ward is here you have one of the best fighters, active fighters right now in the world. He's trapped. He's trapped in this division that there's no hoopla in there. Nobody cares. There's nothing there. I mean, when you take your American boxers, the heavier ones, when you get to the heavier ones, your Cunninghams and the fighters, no one really cares because there's no excitement there. And I think you're exactly right. Andre Ward, he's unfortunate that he's in a time frame where he cannot get that big money, where he cannot get, because there's nothing there for him. So yes, he's going to have to come down. The days of the WBC bout, the WBA bout, the IBF bout being this icon, this diamond, they're gone. They're gone. No one cares about them anymore. Although they're still making millions and millions of money on sanctioning fees, because there's got to be something at the top. There's got to be a reward. But bottom line is, do you chase that belt or you chase the money? Floyd Mayweather is one of the best ones. Says, hey, I'm not paying that sanctioning bet. I can care less if my next fight is for a WBC title or not.
Yeah.
I got a whole wall full of belts. I don't need another belt. Okay, he's in it for now. Okay, pay me for what I do in the ring. I think that's what Andre Ward's going to have to do. He's going to have to come down and do a catch weight with Triple G.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that in itself will make him the payday he wants. It would give him the exposure he wants, and people will start to latch onto his bandwagon.
And it's just not that. It's not Andre Ward's fault as well. You have guys like Lucian Boot who lost to Frotch, and that took away the appeal of an Andre Ward-Lucian Boot fight. You have a guy like Juan Pascal who lost a few fights. That would have been a great fight for Andre Ward too if he would have kept winning. In order for these big mega fights to happen, it takes two guys. So we can't just put blame on Andre Ward. He's held up his end of the bargain. He's won his fights. Remember going into the Super 6, he was not the favorite.
Well, why wasn't he the favorite?
Because he was young. He was only, I think, 18-0 at the time when he entered the Super 16 or the Super 6. Carl Frotz was the favorite. You had Mikael Kessler from Denmark and Arthur Abraham. All these guys were already 32-1, 34-0. They were the power brokers, the European machines, can't be beat. And he went in there and he beat all three of them.
No, he didn't. That's not true.
Who did he not beat?
That's not true. Andre Ward benefited. He only beat Carl Frotz.
He beat Kessler in his first bout.
And that was, Mikael Kessler wasn't our favorite. The favorite, as if you remember correctly, was not even in the Super 6. John Butte.
Lucian
Butte
was, but he chose not to be in it. And
it was about money thing. It was about money, and
he was supposed to get the winner.
And so, but like I said, Andre Ward benefited from the Super 6. He didn't. I mean, that's where he got his thing because we had all these other guys who were supposed to be the main guys. They knocked each other off. He gets the advantage, and
well, he should have been benefited because no, not Lucian. Andre Ward should have benefited in that whole program because the only reason all these other fighters you're talking about were big names and so forth is because there was no American fighter up and coming or in that competition, so you had to settle for what was out there in other countries. Look what happened to them when they come in and when Andre Ward got to become where he matured. They can't handle it. They were nowhere near the skill.
Look at Arthur Abraham. His first fight against a 16-0 Doral, and Doral put a schooling on him.
That's what I'm saying. They came in and they were in at the right time. There was no competition for them, so naturally they were the cream of the crop. They ain't the cream of the crop now.
Andre Ward is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Andre Ward, you got your Doral. You got fighters now that will step up and beat them now.
Well, that was my point. I said that was guys that were like you pointed an excellent point. Those guys were 32-0, 33-0, 35-0. I mean, they had all been just went around through Europe. Mm-hmm. Andre Ward benefited from that. They didn't really have any competition. I'm not going to say.
I agree with you. That's what I said. He should have benefited.
Andre Ward, like I said, the Super 6. If he had knocked off Butte, Kessler, Arthur Abraham, Frock, all these guys at once, I'd give it to him, but he didn't. He benefited, man. He got all of them. Like I said, when they're on the backside of their career, if you remember correctly, the Super 6 was just a way of trying to bolster up more intrigue into a higher weight class because everybody was tired of the little guys taking advantage. And they said, well, we got to find somebody up here that can do something. Yeah. Andre Ward benefited. I'm going to give him his due. He benefited, but I'm still saying, like we all agree, he's in a position now where he's got to shit or get off the pot.
Well, he is now.
Yeah.
Now it's time. Now it's time to showcase.
He don't want to mess with Adonis Stevenson right now. He does not want to go up right now.
That's a
but he needs to. He needs to do Adonis up, or he needs to go down. But he needs to do one of them.
That's what.
He can't stay where he's at.
Yeah, I think Triple G is the better fight for him as far as an opponent who can beat him. I think he puts a clinic on Adonis Stevenson. I think Adonis Stevenson is just gets in there. Andre Ward gets that technical game plan down, and he gets. Stevenson gets the deer in the headlights, and he beats him over 12 rounds. I think Triple G is where the fight needs to happen, or Sergey Kovalev at 175.
Yeah,
if he's going to go to 175, I think
Kovalev-
Sergey Kovalev is the better
Kovalev
option.
is a good one, you know, but once again, mark my words on this. Andre Ward's not going to take you. He's going to let Adonis and Kovalev fight and say, "I'll take the." You know,
Well,
he's not going to. You know,
he's
not going to go through them all.
He needs to if he's going to chase the big payday, he needs to make the step. He needs to challenge these guys. Frankly, I think he beats any of them.
Well, let me ask you this.
But I just think that he needs to do that, or he can just stay where he's at, be the champ, and
just be a semi-star.
Yeah, and when his career is over, he can be like
that.
he can go find a job somewhere.
Well, look, that's
Well, he has
the same
HBO commentary already.
But
So
that's the same thing that we saw happen with Chad Dawson.
Yeah.
We were all like, nobody can beat Chad, so Chad's going to
Yeah.
sit back and
that's
just
what he did.
retire as he did. And then he said, well, there's this fight go down here with Andre.
But you saw flaws in Chad Dawson. The flaws were there.
We saw him.
But you don't see flaws in Andre Ward, though.
We haven't seen him get hit. That's the thing now. When he moves up or he moves up, Triple G hits him, we got to see how he reacts.
We got to see.
Adonis Stevenson, I agree with you. When you watch him, you say, oh, he'll just box him to death.
Well,
But if he gets hit, well, I want to see how he reacts.
He got tagged in that Super 6 a couple of times, and I didn't think he reacted very good. So you're right. He needs to step up. He needs to step up and either go for the stardom and the money, or just sit back where you're at, because boxing, the career of a boxer is short. It won't be long. A year from now, 2 years from now, he's gone. Someone else is in there, and they'll take advantage of it.
Well, just let me say this. I want to just be on record with this, okay? I like Andre Ward, his skill set. I see where he needs some work, you know, and he's allowed himself to maybe believe too much of the hype that he's all of this, okay? I don't like the way the road he's going down now, where he says, oh, yeah, like this latest comment he said, oh, the fight between me and Triple G will be good for boxing. Who are you to tell us what's good for boxing? You haven't really done anything, Andre Ward, other than everybody saying we see this. But for you to go and dominate the sport like Floyd, you haven't done that. So don't tell me about what's good for boxing.
It won't happen unless he himself makes that move.
Or get off the pot.
So it's like, to me, I don't care. There's plenty of good boxing coming down from last year to this year. There's plenty of good boxing. So if he makes a move, fine. If he doesn't, it doesn't matter. Just go on the record books. Go to record books.
We all agree with that. Now we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with our next segment. In the meantime, keep those hands up.